Hello, welcome to Shine Solutions. In the last video, we were discussing about 2021 JAM question papers detailed solution. So let's continue. Up to 30 questions we already did up to 30 questions. From 31 onwards we will discuss in this video. Okay, let's start. So the 31st question onwards up to 40 question, it is multi-select question. So there will be more than one correct answers. So let's do like that. This is the 31st question. 31st question is this one. The correct statements about the species is are. These are the options given. So let's discuss how to do this problem. Okay, so first option is this one. CPMO CO thrice and CPW CO thrice, both these are isoelectronic. So we know the D4 systems. D4 systems are chromium, molybdenum, tungsten. Okay, these are the D4 series, D4 system, 3D, 4D and 5D system. Okay, so the outermost electronic configuration of these three metals are same. So you can see the first option, Cp is common, Co, the number of Co are same, only difference is Mo and W. Okay, so this molybdenum and tungsten are from the same group, so the number of electrons in the outermost orbital are same. So both these have the same number of electrons, so they are isoelectronic. First statement is right. Now about this one, second option. To do the second option, you can see it here. CH2 minus is given, so the number of electrons in the outermost orbital of carbon is 4 and a negative charge 1 electron plus 2 hydrogen, 2 electrons. Okay, so what about NH2? So we have CH2 minus, we have 7 electrons, and for NH we have 5 plus NH2 we have 5 plus 2, 7 electrons. Okay, so they are isoelectronic, but there is one more idea is asked, that is about the isolobal species. Okay, so how can we find out the isolobal species for p block elements? For p block elements, okay, to find out the isolobal species, we should find the total number of electrons, and we should find this one, 8 minus this total number of electron. Okay, so 8 minus this total number of electron will give you 1, and here also if we subtract 7 from 8 we will get, okay, the number of electrons. If these two subtracting the number of total number of electrons from 8 and we got the same number, then these two are isolobal species. So these two are isolobal species. Okay, this is how we should find the isolobal species for p block elements. What about this one? So this is also right. What about this one, BH and CH? Number of electrons in boron is 3 plus 1 from hydrogen, so it's 4 for boron. BH species it is 4, and for CH species 4 plus 1. Number of electrons in carbon is 4, and for hydrogen is 1, so it is 5. Okay, so 8 minus 4 and 8 minus 5. Okay, we will get 4 and 3 here. These two are not equal, so they are not isolobal species. So this is wrong. What about this one? Okay, for CH3, 4 plus 3 equal to 7. For we have a D block element here. For manganese, we should find the total number of electrons here. We should find the total number of electrons in this species. So how can we find the total number of electrons? Manganese D5 system, 5 plus 2 in s orbital. Electronic configuration is s2 D5. So 5 plus 2 plus 2 electrons from each CO, 5 into 2, 10. Okay, so 17 electrons. So we should find it's asked about the isolobal species. To find out the isolobal species in p block elements, we should find the difference between, we should subtract the number of electron from 8 minus 7, and for D block elements we should subtract from 18. Okay, 18 minus 17, so we will get 1 here and we will get 1 here, so both are same, so they are isolobal species. So the option C is also correct. So the answer is A B and D. C is not correct. That is the first 31st question's answer. Okay. To question number 32 is this one. The complex that shows Jahn-Teller distortion is R. So these are the options given. So let's see how to solve this. Let's see how to solve this. To solve this, we should know the species which show Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay, the species which do not show Jahn-Teller distortion is easier. So let's say D3. D3 both high spin and low spin. Okay, D5. D3, D5 high spin, D6 low spin, D6 low spin, D8 high spin and low spin, and D10 high spin and low spin. These are the species which do not give Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay, these are the species which do not give Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay, no Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay. Ready? They do not give Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay, so we should find which are the species which do not give Jahn-Teller distortion. If you are talking about option 3, you can see this is a strong ligand. Okay, this is a strong ligand. So manganese, you can say it here, manganese in +2 oxidation state, manganese in +2 oxidation state, D5 high spin, D5 low spin system, D5 low spin. Okay, D5 low spin complex. So this will give you Jahn-Teller distortion. This is also Jahn-Teller active. What about this one? COE and twice F2 plus. If you are talking about the option number 4, this cobalt is in CO3 plus oxidation state. If the cobalt is in 3 plus oxidation state, you can say there is a chance for low spin complex. This is also a low spin complex. So I told you cobalt is in, if the cobalt is in D6 oxidation state, it will give you a low spin complex. So it's a low spin complex, it will not give you Jahn-Teller distortion, and these two are low spin complex and will not give you. 1 and 3 are will give you Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay, so the option is option A and C will give you Jahn-Teller distortion. Okay, now let's move on to question number 33. The question is, the correct statement about sodium nitroprusside is. Options are, it is a paramagnetic complex. Nitroprusside ion is formed in the brown ring test of nitrates. It is used for the detection of S2- ion in aqueous solution. It contains nitrosyl ligand as NO+. Okay. So let's see how to solve this problem. Sodium nitroprusside is a drug, so it's used in medicinal. It has some medicinal properties. So it's an important molecule. Okay, so let's see what is the structure of this sodium nitroprusside. So the sodium nitroprusside is this one. It's the octahedral complex of iron, Fe, five Cn and one NO, triple bond O. Okay, and the complex is in +2- species, and we have Na plus 2Na plus. This is sodium nitroprusside. So the structure, from structure itself you can see this is Fe is in, okay, Fe, you can see this is NO here, we have NO plus, this is NO plus species. So we have 5Cn minus, so 5 minus and plus 1 of this one. Okay, so -4 charge, and we have only 2 minus on the complex, so Fe is in Fe2 plus oxidation state. Okay, Fe is in Fe2 plus oxidation state. Cn is a strong ligand. FeCN is a strong ligand, means it's a low spin complex. Okay, it's a low spin complex. So the first statement is about it's a paramagnetic complex. Definitely not. It's a diamagnetic compound. Okay, it's a diamagnetic complex. Completely the electrons are paired. Okay, so it's a diamagnetic compound. First statement is wrong. Second statement is the nitroprusside ion is formed in the Brown ring test of nitrates. It's a wrong answer. And the third is it is used for the detection of H2 minus ion. It's a very correct answer. C is the correct answer, and the option 4 is it contains nitrosilase NO plus. So that's also correct. So the answer is option C and D for the question number 33. Question number 34 is the pigment responsible for the red color of tomato has one functional group. The correct statement about the functional group is R. Actually, the red coloring agent of tomato is lycopene. The structure of lycopene is like this. You can see in the screen. There is only double bonds. It's a long chain molecule and has only double bond. Okay, lot of double bonds are present. So the characteristic reactions of alkene will give you the answer. So there is only two options are correct. A decolorized brown water is correct, and it get cleaved on the treatment with ozone. Both are the characteristic reactions of C double bond C. So option A and C are correct. Now let's move on to question number 35. So the question number 35 is this one. Hansch pyridine synthesis involves several steps. Some of these are. Hansch pyridine synthesis involves several steps. Some of these are options: aldol reaction, Darson reaction, Mannish reaction, Michael addition. Okay, so Hansch synthesis, in Hansch synthesis, what we do is we treat aldehyde, normally formaldehyde, with beta ketoester. Okay, beta ketoester. So two equivalents of beta ketoester. So what is mean by a beta ketoester? Okay, this is beta ketoester, and we are treating with two equivalents of this one with formaldehyde. Okay, so this is the step in presence of a base. So first of all, a base will remove this proton. Okay, and it will attack here. So this is first step is aldol condensation actually. Okay, okay, so next step is the elimination of hydrogen. Again base will eliminate this hydrogen to will give you this one. Okay, again we are treating this one with another molecule of, we are treating with this is taking as two equivalent. Okay, so one molecule already reacted, we now treat another molecule. Okay, again base will remove this proton in basic medium. Base will remove this proton and it will attack like this. Okay, this is 1,4 addition, is known as Michael addition. Michael addition. So the product is like this. This carbon, and that has double bond will be here. Okay, so this is the molecule you get. So we know when it forms, it will undergo keto-enol tautomers to give you this product. So let's draw like this. Okay, so this is the ultimate product of Michael addition. Now we are treating, this is the first step of the Hansch reactions, and second step is we are treating with this one with ammonia. Okay, ammonia. So what happened is ammonia will attack here. So I'm not going to write all the mechanisms, it will be lengthy. So I'm just So if we know ammonia, when ammonia react with carbonyl groups, what happened? It will form imine. Okay, it will form imine. Double bond NH. So this is the product we will get. Okay, so once it is formed, we have a basic medium. This one will convert to NH2. NH2, and this part will remain as like this. Okay, so this again will react with this one. Again, this oxygen will eliminate here. Double bond will form. Okay, double bond. So this is the product we will get. Now we want to convert this one to pyridine. Now last step is FeCl3. We are treating with FeCl3. So this proton is also eliminated to give you it will become an aromatic system. So the final product is like this. If we are treating with FeCl3, we will get this one. Okay, so this is how we get the pyridine. So this is Hans's reaction. Next, let's move on to, so the answer for this one is we have two reactions, aldol reaction and Michael addition. So answer is option A and D. So question number 36 is the compounds which give benzoic acid on oxidation with KMnO4 is. Okay, these are the options given. So the question is we should get benzoic acid. Okay, benzoic acid when treatment with KMnO4. Okay, so what is the condition for a molecule to to convert benzoic acid from benzene derivative to benzoic acid in the presence of KMnO4? The idea is we should have at least a benzylic hydrogen, and the benzylic hydrogen should be secondary or tertiary. Okay, so you can see it here. There is a benzylic hydrogen is here. It will give you. So there is no benzylic hydrogen is here. No, it will not give you. Here you can see a benzylic hydrogen present. So it can give you. There is a benzylic hydrogen here, but this is not a secondary one. So this will not give you. Okay, so the option A and D are the correct answer for this particular question. A and D are the correct answer. Now let's move on to question number 37. Question number 37 is the products P and Q formed in the reactions are. So this is the question given. So let's see how to do this. So the question is about carbene. Okay, the carbene it is given as a singlet carbene. This is given in the question. Okay, singlet carbene. So carbene when react with alkene to give you cyclopropane ring. The stereochemistry of alkene. What about the stereochemistry? If it's a singlet carbene, the stereochemistry of alkene retains. So, okay, what is the stereochemistry of alkene? It is Me are trans here. So the stereochemistry of this one will retain. If it's a singlet carbene, if it's a triplet carbene, we'll get a racemic mixture. Okay, so that is this idea about stereochemistry. So by this idea, you can eliminate two options. You can see it here. This option and this option, both Me are cis to each other. So it will not give you the product. Now let's think about this A and B. Okay, so A and B may be correct. Okay, so what about the stereochemistry of this one? Okay, now let's see how can we do this. So in A and B, so we can have two possibilities here. So that let's see how these are formed. Me, we have two a double bond here. two electrons forms a double bond, and these two electrons will have opposite spin. Okay, Fe, F and Cl, and these two electrons will have singlet carbene, means the electrons will be like this. Okay, if triplet carbines, both electrons will have the same spin. Okay, this is triplet carbene, this is singlet carbene. So okay, so it is given as singlet carbene in the question. So let's, these two electrons having opposite spin will form a bond here, and these two electrons having opposite spin will form here a bond. Okay, so that is how it forms a bond here. So there is a product like this. Okay, Me. So this is the first possibility. Okay, another possibility is this one. If we have a species like this, Cf and Cl, it's also another possibility. Okay, and if it is forming like this, you can see Me, it will give you another product like this. Okay, Fe, F, Cl, Me, Me. Okay, these are the two products possible. So it is given in the option, you can see it here. In this option, you can see the stereochemistry of Me is opposite here. So okay, if the reaction, the reactant, the Me are trans, in the product also it should be trans. That's only given here in this option B. So this is the correct answer. Okay, so the question number 38 is the functional group in reducing sugar that test positive with tolerance reagent. This is the question. So let's see how to solve this. So tolerance reagent means we have AgNO3, ammonia and sodium hydroxide. The combination of this one is known as tolerance reagent. So what happened is, it formed a silver ammonia complex. Silver will be in +1 oxidation state in that particular complex, and when we treat an organic molecule, especially aldehyde will be oxidized by this one. Okay, aldehyde will be oxidized by this silver complex, and silver complex get reduced. So silver will be Ag converted to Ag plus to silver. So silver in zero oxidation state means silver in the metal state. So it will be precipitated as silver mirror. So that is the tolerance reagent. That is how tolerance reagents act. Okay, so which reagent will give you the positive test for tolerance reagent? Normally aldehydes are the best candidates. Normally to distinguish between aldehyde and ketone, we use tolerance reagent. But there is an exception, the ketones which is having alpha OH group, alpha hydroxy ketone. Alpha hydroxy ketone will give you positive test, positive tolerance rates, and hemiacetal also will give you positive, the positive test for tolerance reagent. Okay, so we have the group aldehyde and okay, this species alpha hydroxy ketone. Okay, alpha hydroxy ketone will give you positive tolerance test. And another species is hemiacetal. Hemiacetal means if we have a ketone and if we treat with an alcohol, this alcohol will react with this one to give you hemiacetal. Okay, RCOH O R double dash R dash. This is hemiacetal. This will also give you positive tolerance reagent, positive tolerance test. So in reducing sugar, we know, just like our glucose and fructose, these species can present. So hemiacetal we have alpha hydroxy ketone will be there, and this type of species also there. So all these will give you positive test. So options A, B and C are right. Acetal will not give you positive tolerance test. So that is the option A, B and C are right. D will not give you positive tolerance test. So let's move on to the question number 39. Question number 39 is this one. Among the following, the anti-aromatic compound is R. Okay, so these are the options given. You can see it here. These are the options. So if you are looking for the first option, what is the condition for a molecule to show aromatic or anti-aromatic? The conditions are, it should be cyclic, it should be conjugated, it should have 4n plus 2 electron for aromatic and 4n electron for anti-aromatic system. Okay, so you can see it here. This species is not conjugated. There is not conjugate. This carbon is not participating in conjugation, so it is not conjugated. So we can eliminate this option. So now we have a positive charge in the option C. Now let's see, in this option we can set this is conjugated. Okay, this is also conjugated, this is also conjugated. Okay, so if you compare, what about the number of electrons? We have 4 pi electrons here, so that means this is a 4n system. Okay, so 4n system means this is anti-aromatic. Aromatic system means 4n plus 2 system. Here also you can say it here 1 2 3 4 pi electrons. Okay, 4 pi electrons, sorry, 4 pi electrons means 4 double bonds means 8 pi electrons. Okay, so this is also 4n system. What about this one? This one also we have 4 pi electrons. Okay, so all these are anti-aromatic. B, C, D are anti-aromatic. Okay, so this is all about question number 39. Now let's move on to question number 40. Question number 40. The correct Maxwell relation derived from the fundamental equation of thermodynamics is R. Okay, these are the options given. So let's see how to solve this. So to remember this Maxwell's relation, it's very difficult. So I'll tell you a simple idea to remember all these things. So for that, so it's a trick to remember Maxwell's relation. Okay, write a square like this, and we should write, you should remember one thing: sulfur, hydrogen and phosphorus. Sulfur, hydrogen and phosphorus go to a village. To meet uranium. Okay, remember this one. So clockwise direction starting from the left corner, write like this: sulfur, hydrogen and phosphorus go to a village to meet uranium. Okay, remember this one and draw a arrow like this. Okay, so this square is very important. We can derive a lot of equations from this one. We can derive almost 12 equations, but I am not talking all of this from this one. So that's why I represent H, G and U in this one. Actually it is not U, it is not necessary for us to solve this one. Okay, but lot of thermodynamic relations can be derived from this. Let's see, I am only talking about this Maxwell's relation, this one from for this particular video. So let's start. So we need this corner species S, P, T and V. Okay, actually S stands for entropy, P energy, temperature, V volume. Okay, so first thermodynamic relation can be derived like this: S, draw a square like this: S, P, T and V. Put arrows. Okay, first we are talking about the relation between S and P. So if we are, this is the first first Maxwell's relation. For this one, just put an arrow like this: relation between S and P. And if we are looking for the relation between S and P, so dou S divided by dou P. Okay, write like this, and this arrow, clockwise arrow, will end at T, so T will be constant. And if you can say about the sign, you can see this is in this direction, and this entropy to temperature arrow is pointing towards this one. So this are both are in same direction. So if both are in same direction, we will put positive here. Okay, now we have corresponding to this relation, we have put the arrow, the direction of arrow should be in the same direction, V to T and P. So it will be dou V by dou T at constant P. Okay, so you can see the direction is this one and the arrow is in opposite, so there will be a minus sign. This is the first Maxwell's relation. Second one, put the same thing. Okay, now arrow in the opposite direction. Okay, so dou P by dou S at constant V equal to, so their direction should be, for this one it should be in this one. Okay, so dou T by dou V at constant S. So which one will have positive? This is in same direction, so it will be positive, but here it's in opposite direction, so in minus charge. Okay, so what about the other relations? Third one, we have the same box. S, P, T, V. Okay, we have the same box. Now we completed the relation between S and P. Now we have to look for the relation between S and V. Okay, so put arrow like this: S and V. So dou S divided by dou V at constant T. So it will be dou P divided by dou T at constant V. Okay, what about the sign? This is in the same direction and both are positive sign, both have positive sign. Okay, so the fourth relation, S, P, T, V. Now we have the arrow in the opposite direction: dou V by dou S at constant P equal to dou V by dou S at constant P equal to, so it should be in this way: dou T divided by dou P at constant S. Okay, so if you are looking for the direction, so it's in the opposite direction, there will be minus charge. This is also in opposite direction, so the minus and minus will cancel out. So these are the four Maxwell's product. So these are the Maxwell's relation. So if you are comparing this one, first one, dou S by dou P at constant T, dou S by dou P, dou S by dou P at constant T is equal to minus dou V by dou P. This is right. Okay, dou S by dou V, is this one, at constant T is equal to dou P by dou T at constant v. This is also right. Okay, so what about this one? Dot t by dou v at constant s. Dot t by dou v at constant s equal to dou p by dou s, this one, dou p by dou s at constant v, but there is a minus charge here. Okay, there is no minus charge in this one, so this is wrong. Dot t by dou p at constant s is equal to dou v by dou s at constant v. This is also right. So option A, B and D are right and option C is wrong. So that is the answer for question number 14. Okay, I hope you all enjoy this video. So let's see in the next video. In that video we will discuss 41 to 50 questions. Okay, bye.